progression from the frog hip openers is going to be loading a split stance. Albeit you'll load it with your body weight, it's nice to keep something like a box or one of the thicker pads like jumping boxes over here that you could put your arms on to support it, to offload some of the body weight if your adductors and your hip muscles aren't tolerant of you going to a stretch with body weight immediately. So with a comfortable stance, I would like to make sure I can assume a stance that is wide enough with the feet. If you can see both my feet here, and I can take hands off, I don't need any support. So this is a great place to start. I'm gonna squeeze the inner thigh muscles and the adductors, which are the muscles that pull our feet and our thighs together, and make sure that feels comfortable. You can hold that for 10 to 30 seconds and then come out of it and make sure you're ready to progress and go wider. Another way you could work on this muscle group to build some resilience is a dynamic portion, is doing a good morning in this position. Coming down, you could do that with hands crossed or hands overhead. And this would be a way to build not only more comfort in the position, but a little more dynamic resilience in this position as you move through it. And then we'll go wider, which this is when it gets harder to hold this position. So here I can still do that, but if I want to go a little further, I do notice it's hard to hold. My feet want to slide, or maybe it's just I can't hold that position very long with my thighs. So versus just try to maintain it and hold it, I could offload a little bit by putting forearms here and then trying to engage those muscles of the inner thigh enough to where I can lift my arms. Hold that 3, 4, 5 seconds, or you could go up to 10 seconds and keep trying to hold and max out, or hit 10, 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, and then call it. And then you could rest, and then you'd want to come out of that stance and just make sure you feel good. This is a movement that can be pretty tough for people if they haven't gone into this style of mobility. So in between sets, do move around, walk it off, and make sure the thighs are feeling okay throughout the movement, because this is getting into upper level loading of tissues that aren't normally exposed to this style of loading. And if the box is too much for you and it gets in the way, you're feeling really comfortable with this movement, maybe you've done some previous gymnastics training or you had the splits at one point in your life, you may not want the box. You could use the ground. So you could start in that stance and use the ground with both hands to support the weight. Once you get the stance wide enough, you could then make sure you're ready to come up and hold, and then activate the inner thighs as well as the quads, so you're protecting your knees, and work on that hold. When you're ready to come out of it, hands down, and you can walk the feet back to a comfortable stance.